Alright, here's a cute little shelf sitter scarecrow face. Here I am color sorting. I'm going to use painter's tape to color sort my items. I think I'm going to paint his nose warm sunset. You don't need to paint this backer piece. So I'm going to paint his face burlap. This is my burlap deco art color match that I got at Home Depot. Use my makeup sponge and apply a thin layer. You want to be careful over the scoring lines. And there I accidentally put on way too much and got some paint in the scoring lines. So once I am done applying my paint, I am going to use my scraper tool to clean those lines out. And the scraper tool that I'm using I got at Dollar Tree. I don't know that you can find them at Dollar Tree anymore, but you can get scraping tools on Amazon. Just want to be careful that you don't jump the line while scraping, and if you do, you just kind of rub your finger over it to smooth out that line. Just take your time and slowly go over the line. See, I just jumped the line right there. And again, patience. I have to always remind myself, be patient. And I'm painting the fall tag with burlap. Sorry, it's not in the view. I'm going to go ahead and use deep ochre and paint his hat. This is a color match I had done of Deco Arts deep ochre. I got it color matched at Home Depot, and I like to use those honey bottles. This will definitely need a second coat. And go ahead and do the hat brim. Set those to the side. I'm going to use lamp black from Deco Art to paint the eyes and the bird. I am comfortable using a makeup sponge. You just have to follow the score lines. You can go ahead and use a paintbrush if you want. This is just how I like to do it. And paint the eyes black. And then I'm going to use chocolate brown for the button. And then I'm going to use Warm Sunset for the nose. I'm going to also use the milk chocolate color to paint the easel and the back of the backer board. So here I am painting the easel. Okay, just adding another layer of brown to the button. I'm going to add another layer of burlap to the tag. And Warm Sunset to the nose. And then I'm going to add deep ochre to the crow's beak. Add another layer of deep ochre to the brim. And then I'm going to paint the other side of the easel dark chocolate. Adding another layer of deep ochre to the hat. And I should have moved this more into the view, but I'm adding another layer of burlap to the face. And using my scraping tool to clean out the score lines. Adding another layer of deep ochre to the hat brim. And the hat. So this is the backer place, or backer side, and I'm just painting the back side with dark chocolate. I need a little bit more paint, so I'm just adding some more paint. And then I'm switching over to a baby wipe because it's taking forever to use a makeup sponge. So I just fold up a baby wipe and then dip it in the paint and then wipe the paint over the backside, and it works pretty easy. Gives it like a faux stained effect. So I'm going to use my hand sander. Here I have 320 grit. I want to give this a little bit more of a rustic vibe. And I think I'm going to switch it up to 240 grit. So here's my box of miscellaneous refills for my hand sanitizer. I ordered this off of Amazon. I'm digging through it for 240 grit. You can use whatever grit you prefer. And then I'm just going to put this on my hand sander, and then I'm going to go around the edges. Just the edges. Normally I like to sand this on a different surface other than where I'm painting because there's so much sawdust. But I'm not. Just grabbing a baby wipe to clean up my mess. Then I'm going to go around this hat brim, just around the edges. And you don't have to do this. This is just what I'm doing because I want to give it, I want to make it more rustic. Then I'm going to sand the nose, just the edges. And the button. And the tag. Now I'm going to sand the bird, just doing the edges of it. Then I'm going to use this Kiehl's dark brown wax. So I use this brush and I just kind of dip it into the wax, and then I wipe it off on another surface to work the wax into the brush. And then where I sanded, I'm going to apply the wax. So just around the edges. And then I'm going to use a paper towel and wipe off the excess wax. And then I'll set this to the side. Now I'm going to do the Scarecrow hat. So I dabbed my brush into the wax and then worked the wax into the brush. Now I'm just going to go around the edges. And lightly go over the whole entire hat. Use my paper towel to wipe up the excess. Then I'm going to go around the face. And then use my paper towel to wipe off the excess. And from scoring the paint out of the smile, the score lines, it made it a little bumpy. So I am just using the 320 grit sandpaper and making it smooth, just giving it a light sanding. I'll set that to the side. And then I'm going to use my brush and just add some wax to the nose. Wipe off the excess with my paper towel. And do the same process to the tag. Wipe off the excess with my paper towel. And do the same thing to the button. I'm just wiping the brush into the area on the that I worked the wax in to pick up any excess wax. And then go around the bird. And then I'm going to use a felt tip marker. I started using this pen, but I decided that I didn't want to. I think I was going to go with a Sharpie. So their fall is engraved on the tag, and so I'm just filling in the lines. You can use a paint pen if you'd like. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a second, and then I'm gonna go over it with the sandpaper to make it a little more vintage, rustic looking. Here I'm using the Tim Holtz Distressing Crayon Color Lumberjack. So I'm just using my little blending brush with Lumberjack on it and lightly going around the cheek area to add blush. So there we go. Now you can see what I did. Now here I am just kind of placing the pieces together to see how they look. Make sure I like them. I'm going to go ahead and sand the tag to give it more rustic vibe. Words are hard today. I'm going to sand that a little bit more. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks good. Okay. So in this kit, you have some spacers, and the spacers are to put the hat brim out a little bit so you can add some raffia for the Scarecrow hair. So this raffia I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I'm gonna go ahead and glue the Scarecrow face to the backer. And the backer is just there to give it a little bit more support because it's a shelf sitter. You just want to line it up. Okay, then I'm gonna glue in his eyes. And the spacers. There are score lines on the hat brim for placement. So now I'm going to open up the raffia and take a couple strands out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line these up the best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect because we can trim it later. And then I'm going to tie a knot and then use hot glue to glue it down. So something like this. Just going to cut off some of the longer pieces, and then you can tear the raffia apart to get it more stringy. I'm going to do 4 of those, so I need 3 more. Alright, now that I got the 4 pieces together, I'm going to use my hot glue. Oh crap. Just knocked my hot glue gun in my paint. Knew that was going to happen eventually. Let me get that cleaned up. Make sure I don't have any paint on my fingers too. Alright, now I'm going to add a little bit of glue next to the spacer. And carefully, because hot glue is hot, place my raffia down and just kind of hold it. Grab my second piece and put it right next to the first piece. And repeat the process on the other side. Okay, now I'm just looking and see how it looks with the hat brim on. Alright, now I'm going to glue on the hat brim. Making sure everything is lined up. I'm going to use these binder clips as clamps so that the hat brim glues securely down. Just like that. I'm going to set that to the side. Here I am checking how long the raffia is and giving him a haircut. And then I'm gluing down the nose and adding the bird. And my clamp's in the way, so I'm just kind of moving that over. I think that looks good. Okay, so this ribbon I picked up at Hobby Lobby in their Christmas section the other day. I thought it was very fall, rustic, folklore-y, so I thought it would be perfect for this project here. I'm not the best bow maker, but what I find that works best for me is grabbing about 6 to 8 inches of ribbon, and then I'm going to grab a piece of twine. Let me move this. So I'm going to lay down my twine so that it's horizontal, up and down, and then I'm going to make a bow, and I'm not going to tie a knot, and I just put my string in the paint, so let me cut that off before I make a mess. And then I just like to scrunch it up in the middle, pull it tight, add a knot. and cut the extra string off. And then I'm going to trim the tail, and I cut it wrong. Let me try again. I'm dovetailing it, doing the same to the other side. I think that's cute. And then I'm going to punch out the little circle holes that didn't get removed when I took the button apart from or out of my machine. I'm going to add a little bit of twine going from the bottom out, because I'm going to tie a bow. I'm going to go ahead and use my hot glue and glue the button down to the center of the bow. And give that a minute to set. Want to be careful because your hot glue could be really hot. And now I'm just going to tie a bow. I started with making a knot and then was going to tie a bow and decided that it was too bulky. And went with the bunny ear method. Then I'm just going to straighten it out. Trim up the lace or the string. And then I'm just going to tuck the tag underneath the little loop of the ribbon bow. But first I'm going to add it. With a little hot glue on the back of the ribbon bow. Add it just below the bird. And let that sit. Fluff out my bow. And then grab my tag. And I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue to the tag and set it right underneath that loop. Looks cute. Okay, now I'm going to put on the easel. So you just want to line this up with the bottom of the flat part of the Scarecrow. And then this will go in the slots. Making sure it'll stand up. Perfect. I'm just making sure the easel's lined up correctly. And then I'm going to add some some dots to the cheeks. And make him look like he's looking up at the bird. And there you go.